Hello, everybody. Thanks for the invitation to talk in this panel. Thanks to Anna. I am Fabrizio Consoli, and I'm the founder of Blue of a Kind. Blue of a Kind is an Italian fashion brand. We call it actually a fashion studio, which focuses on sustainability, in particular through upcycle. I'm now based in Milan, and I'd like to introduce you to show something of what we do in terms of, as a brand. And in order to do so, I'd like to show you a short presentation which we prepared especially for this occasion. So just a second. All right, so this is the presentation. So first of all, this is the leitmotif from Antoine de Lavoisier, which reads, "Nothing is created, nothing is destroyed, everything is transformed." So basically, the idea behind this is exactly what we do as a brand. So as a brand, we take existing garments and the leftover textile, and we adjust these things, so things that have not been produced with this specific purpose, we create new garments and new fashion. I guess everybody knows the difference between recycle and upcycle. Still, the difference is basically that when you recycle something, you take an element, a product which is a higher product value, and you create something of a lower product value. So basically, when you use a use a shirt to wash windows, for example. On the other side, when you upcycle something, you take something which has a starting value, which is that is lower of the output of your process. So you create something which is a higher level of value at the end of the process. As a brand, we position ourselves at the very end of the product life cycle. So we take what is generally considered waste, and with that, we try to create new fashion, high-end fashion, by the way. So something that is that can be still considered a fashion product, which otherwise would be thrown away. We are more in specific. As said, we are a high-end fashion studio which focuses on sustainability through circularity. So we try to work just with existing garment and leftover textile, and nothing that we use the process, not even the internal parts, so not even the waistband or the internal part of the buttons. Nothing is actually produced with this with the specific purpose of becoming part of a Blue of a Kind garment. All of a garment, we call them 0 kilometers, because everything is produced within a radius of about 50 kilometers from Milan. So our production facilities sits in the province of Bergamo, which is very near to our headquarters, which are based at downtown Milan. This is actually a short explanation of why we call ourselves Blue of a Kind, because of course blue is the color of, let's say, the typical color, the indigo color of denim. And at the same time, we started from a masterpiece in just production, which is kind of blue. And if you see our logo, Blue of a Kind, is actually the mixing of the elements composing the word, the phrase, kind of blue. So everything is still there, but is repositioned in different ways in order to create Blue of a Kind. And this, in a nutshell, explain and stigmatize what we stand as a brand. So we take things which are already there and we mix and shuffle them up in order to create something which is, at the end of the day, completely different. We work with two line of products. One is actually the proper upcycle garments. That means there are remanufactured post-consumer garments, which are basically taken from pre-existing vintage or unsold pieces of the industry. The other line of product which is slightly younger, because it's been introduced a couple of years after the upcycling line. Instead, it's a more traditional way of producing fashion. So it's a traditional way of creating garments, and it's done through using industrial waste, which means leftover textiles. So all the textile that has been left behind by the production of this. So it's actually industrial waste in a way. focusing and going more deep into the upcycle part. I mean, when we started this process, there was no such thing as upcycle, so we have to learn it by doing somehow. So our approach has been specifically this, so trying again and again and again in order to understand the secrets, if any, of producing upcycle garments. And we, at the end of the day, we've been able to, initially we used to say industrialize the process. Actually, I think that the right word to use is standardize the process. Standardize because we understand that this is a very time-consuming and labor-intensive job, which has always been made and will always be made by human hands, one by one. So it's a very time-consuming and artisanal approach to the garment when you have to remanufacture something. On the other end, as said, the leftover garments are garments made in a more traditional way, so cut, trim, and make. The starting point is different because the starting point are actually leftover textile. And on top of this, we try and leverage all the ultimate technologies in the industry, trying to reduce as much as possible the usage of water and the waste, the creation of waste. We'll see this in a couple of minutes. However, we have in particular a specific collaboration with the Officina 39, which is the parent company that creates the Resicrom, which is this dyeing element that basically is created using powder taken from pre-existing garment, divided by color, shredded into powder, and then applied on the garment, becoming the dye element, the pigment, the dyeing element that actually makes the garment of the color that you see, that you finally see. We work in the great frame of the sustainability, and of course there are so many things that you can do with the sustainability framework. So we decided to specifically focus on saving water. This because, as you all know, denim is actually an industry which is a high consumer of water. So we decided that this would have been our main focus, trying to reduce this consuming of water. During the lifetime, the average lifetime of a jean, this uses pretty much about 10,000 liters of water. Typically, an industrial washing uses from, I would say, not 60, maybe 40 to 100 and something liters of water. Now there are new products are born, new processes are born trying to reduce the usage of water. Still, when we work with the upcycle activity, with our upcycle activity, so in our garments, we use 0 liters of water. This means that if you take out the sanitization at the very beginning of the process, then the color that you will see in our garment is exactly the same color of the garment that actually became then ultimately the blue of a kind product, which means that the part of the creative process is actually selecting the right pieces that can then become a blue of a kind garment. If we go then to the leftover products, this uses pretty much, if we're talking about a jeans, up to 3 liters of water. All these figures, all these data you see are taken either from United States and United Nations. You see here on the notes the address, the link, sorry, either from Ready Garment Technology, which is the industry that actually produces and uses the chemicals product of Officina 39, which I mentioned before. This is a quick slide trying to synthesize what the upcycle operation looks like. So basically, we start from the selection of the original garments, which will then be unstitched. Of course, there is a part which is the third step, which is a style destination. So after many years, well, some years, we started pretty much 6 or 7 years ago. So after all these years trying and understanding and working with upcycle, we finally understood what can become what in terms of upcycle process, so we can decide where to what destination a certain garment should have, and so we do. Then we have a quality assessment. So we try, we test the garment to make sure that the quality is high, still high, so it will resist for many years ahead. Then the garments gets deconstructed, so unstitched at the seams. So all the stitches actually are taken apart, and then basically after ironing the remaining part, the unstitched part, the process that you see on the left side of the slide is actually a traditional process where there is a cut, trimming, refitting, sewing, new branding, and so on in creating this new garment. And these are few pictures taken from this specific upcycle process as we do it. We call our product Remade in Italy, which is a way of playing with words, because we work in Italy and we remake garments. The idea was actually the one to try and collect the heritage of this new wave of fashion that was coming to us from West Coast US, and mix it up with our savoir-faire, with our ability as Italian artisans to create stuff. So we wanted to have this rock and roll approach, a standard approach, and at the same time this tailor approach on the inside. And this is something that you see here in this picture, where you see that there is a waist belt, which is done with, again, with pre-existing material, which we put together. You also see some bindings inside. We discontinued because it was not very comfortable to wear. But the idea was to try and show at the loudest volume possible that this garment that used to be considered waste is actually something that can become an extremely nice, fashionable, and cool product, as the one you see here. Here you see few pictures of the garment that we've been producing during the years. As you can clearly see, we started as a female brand, then we pivoted the brand, and we became an unisex brand. So we do now garments for both men and women. Some styles are specifically still for women, otherwise all the garments can be indifferently dressed by women and men. When we talk about know-how, as mentioned, we took the test and learn approach, so hands-on. So we tested and tested and tested, and to try and come out with a very nice product, with a very nice process, and ultimately a product. And at the same time, we actually tapped in this great vivacity in the industry, which is at the B2B level, where many industry and many company are trying to develop new processes and new product in order to become more responsible or sustainable, and to then progress the entire industry towards a less impactful approach. We have and have had many partnership. Just to mention some, Ellen MacArthur Foundation in the Jeans Design project, as well as we are part of the Città dell'Arte Fondazione Pistoletto Fashion Best for sustainable fashion. So with other brands that are in this field. We are talking currently about circularity, and as mentioned before, we place ourselves at the very end of the pipeline of the production. So we take things that are usually universally considered waste. However, we are trying to move up the food chain and trying to go towards the origin of this process. And to this extent, we are working towards a cradle-to-cradle model. In this regard, we just started. It's not that we just started. Well, we started, but there is still work to be done. But so far, we offer to our customer free repairs for life. That means they, in any phase or moment of your experience as consumer, you suffer from a rip or something, you can ship back the garment to us, and we will repair it for you and ship it back to you for free. At the same time, we're working towards a circular by design approach to our garments. To this extent, what we do is actually we try to put no rivets into the garment. We try to put no leather patches, and for this reason, we are also PETA approved. And ultimately, we try to not to use blend fabrics. So we try to use just cotton fibers, 100% cotton, in order to have to not have that mix of fabric, which we all know that is actually is not sustainable, is not recyclable in particular. So for this reason, we try to avoid it. Still, there is always a physical limit to recycle. So the fabric would then naturally degrade in the years of usage, and to this end, at a certain point, it will not be you will not be able, you or Blue as a brand will not be able to reuse it, and so to be circular in a let's say in an infinite circle. 3 years ago, actually 3 years ago, in few weeks, we opened our monobrand store in the very center of Milan. This store was intended to be a temporary store. It's still there. It's about 3 years, as I was mentioning. It's in a very is one of the most iconic streets in Milan. We are near to Margela. We used to be near to Chiara Ferragna, but then she closes her store recently. And we wanted to give a message through the shop. As you can see, the entire windows are wrapped in blue. You guess why blue? And the idea was actually that we want to be we are part of the fashion industry, but we want to have a slightly different approach to this industry. In this regard, the approach is saying we are amongst you, but we try to do things in a more responsible way. The shop is actually offering just Blue garments, and we've been refitting the shop exactly with the same philosophy we use for the garments. Therefore, everything which is in the shop was already existing. So we took a carpet which was being taken from, I think it was Prada. The shelves were taken from a showroom. So everything is being reused to try and stay in line with our brand principles. Finally, this is just a consideration that I'd like to share with you today. So is upcycling a solution? As we all know, just 1% of garments produced actually goes through a recycling or upcycling process. The real point, there are issues that we work in a constant imbalance of supply excess. So there is so much garment that is put on the market, and the demand actually struggles to stay abreast of the supply. If you think when it comes to technology actually evolves, right? So if you buy a new computer, if you buy a new telephone, this will be definitely better than the one that you have 2 or even 5 years ago. This doesn't apply, or just applies in a little percentage to garments. So garments are, especially denim. Denim is pretty much always the same. It can be done, it can be produced with more responsible approach to production, but at the end of the day, it will still be pretty much the same garment as you used to wear in the 60s or in the 70s. So for this reason, our industry works by substitution, which means that the industry works trying to indulge the consumer to buy a new product. So this is the thing that the element that I think we need to work on. So just think that the total production of garment in the world is actually increasing. So all the industry is talking about sustainability, but still we are still producing more and more garments. We put in the market more and more garments, and just a small percentage of this actually reaches the shelves. So I guess that beside the upcycling, which can be a way to soften the clash, the natural clash between the necessary direction that we need to undertake as humans, and the direction we need to redefine what we intend to be progress, what we intend to be growth, what we intend to be success. I think that was it. These are my contact details. Should you be interested in sharing thoughts or a question to me. Thanks again for hosting me, and I hope you have a great continuation of the day. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing Blue of a Kind so generously with us, and your proposal, the way that you choose to make this brand and this mindset behind every single choice that you have to make. So incredible. And
Thank you very much for your words and also for hosting me.
No, thank you. So people here are asking us about, it's only one store, one retail in Milan, right?
Yes, so far, yes.
What you
It's
were
been very
saying,
complicated to run a single store. So we have few people in the brand so far, so it's been pretty difficult and amazing at the same time. It's a great journey. It's a complicated journey, but yes, we have one store for now. We have put on hold our distribution, our international distribution, which we're gonna pick back soon because we're now having some collaboration, which we will really reveal in a while. One has just gone live 2 days ago. It's with an Italian brand which is called Velasca, but this is actually a third-party brand. We're now starting collaborating with other creative directors, so we're
very nice. This was another question. So, a second, I'm going to translate to them. Él está diciendo acá que solamente tiene un local porque tiene que manejar toda esa distribución, pero que ya hizo colaboraciones con otras marcas, hizo recientemente una colaboración que empezó semana pasada y que ahora está trabajando con un director creativo para hacer una segunda colaboración. So, the next question, it's a possibility of talk with some Latin America brand to collaborate and do some collab with them also?
Of course, that would be great. Actually, we are always open to collaborate. We are we're a weird brand because, of course, we use all the brands' garment in order to do our garments. Not just garment, because as I think I explained in my video, we do either garment with the existing garment and with the leftover textile. But yes, in the short term, the idea of collaborating with other brands will be great. Actually, we are actually looking forward to collaborating with brands.
Perfect. Entonces, él está diciendo que ellos son una marca que ya trabajan con ese tipo de circularidad. Entonces, la idea acá es usar todo el desperdicio que la marca genera para poder hacer esas prendas y no solamente rehacer y reutilizar los materiales, como también es reutilizar la propia prenda para poder rediseñarla de una forma increíble, porque es como vimos en las fotos, que la cintura, los colores, los contrastes, está todo como muy bien curado y muy bien hecho para esa retransformación del producto. Entonces sí invito a las marcas que están acá, como las que vimos al principio, estaba la gente de Tuche, estaba la gente de Renner, tenía alguien ahí de reserva, o sea, invitar a la gente de poder participar y poder entender que hay diseño de autor hecho de una forma completamente transparente, trazable y que nosotros podemos llegar a hacer algo disruptivo realmente en nuestra generación, en nuestra región. ¿Alguien más tiene alguna pregunta directamente para Fabrizio? Y si no, me quedo acá y les agradezco muchísimo. Díganme si van a tener o no. And just a second. Yeah, here we go. One more question. How was leave your sorry, a second. Let me see, because it was in my private one. And why you have the idea to be an entrepreneur instead to be a fashion designer before?
That's right. I think I missed the question.
How was your idea to leave the corporation to be inside your circularity brand?
Well, actually, these are two things that are disconnected. So I left the brand because, I wanted to be a consultant, or at least I wanted to be a consultant. You know, I think sometimes you get bored of things and you say, okay, maybe my way it's elsewhere. And because you always know where you're leaving, you never know what you're facing next. And then things came up little by little, to be honest with you. So I didn't left the brand because I had an idea or the dream too, which would be much more cool to say, but it's not the truth.
Wasn't that way. But
So no, I left the brand, and then I did a couple of years consulting, and then I had this idea. Well, actually, the idea was born while I was working in this brand, but I was already leaving. And then I did some consultancy, and then after this, I said, well, maybe we should pick up that idea that we had at the lunch. You remember, I told Paul, and that was the genesis.
You know that that's about our event that we have already done. It's like find the solution. I think that when you are inside, you cannot see wherever you want to see, because
Yes.
we are a kind of blind inside the industry. But then when you go out and you understand like why we're doing that way, my gosh, it's so wrong, and then
It's
you can
also
bring something different.
it's also, I think it's much easier doing things from scratch from beginning. I mean, changing your path as you're navigating things is much more complicated. When you start things from scratch, you can actually define the way you want to do things. You can define and say, okay, I want to do things this and that way. And also, I think that changing perspective is also very useful. So sometimes when you are within an organization, you don't really get, you know, things which you're never going to use, and the other way around works. So you have when you're working as an entrepreneur, you know things, you understand things in a different way, and sometimes in a deeper way, even because often you're frontlining things, which is something you do not do before. And there are other complicated things. So now I just came to pick up some stuff, which is for next press day. So I'm actually in the car, as you may as you may know, because you do other things rather than talking to.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, and octopus trying
Yes,
to
that,
remember.
that
And
is amazing.
the last thing, what's the advice that you give for new brands or big brands in Latin America or in different region to do better or improve the way that they are working?
Well, that is a good question. I mean, I think I was actually talking to a friend and a consultant a few days ago, and they told me fashion is actually way ahead of other industry in terms of sustainability, in terms of understanding how to do things. So I guess that just talking around, there is a lot. There are a lot of entrepreneurs which are already doing stuff. There are a lot in the market in terms of people creating incredible dyeing, creating incredible technologies to be used. So I think that the suppliers are the real key player in this guy in this place. So you can have ideas as an entrepreneur. You say, okay, I want to go to the moon, but then you need to rely on engineers and people that actually can know these things. So I will definitely say, talk to people, talk to the industry, talk to the suppliers, because they know things that, which I mean, and then the role of the entrepreneur is actually putting things together and allow them to know where they can go. So what can I do with this? What can I do with these other things? Sometimes people invent incredible things that they just don't know what to use with them. So the idea of being able to interpret your time to interpret things, it's a great way to start things.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think that we are starting to talk with Latin America in Blue of Kind.
That
And
would
I
be
think that
great.
will be just the first time for many times that we are going to meet again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice trip. Bye bye.
You too. Bye. Take care. Bye bye.